Danger. Today I am back with another review. And I know it's been a while. I know it's been a while with videos. Again, I have been busy, a lot of stuff, behind the scenes and stuff, but again, to put out something for years since I've been gone for almost a month. Today is a review back with the usual reviews, as you know, with my Max reviews. And let's just say this film is a very unusual film, but it's very clever and unique in a way. And this is Tusk. With the whole premise and the idea, the director, or should I say, the main guy, one of the main characters, which is the villain, but really is not a villain when you think about it, has some kind of villainous tone, but has a reason in this film. And it's very sinister, but it's very clever, because what's weird with this film is that even though it says a comedy and horror, the comedy kind of fits in some ways, but sometimes cannot be funny. Sometimes it can be a bit unsettling, because they go a bit realistic in some cases in this film, with one thing in particular, and that is like, you know, with the human thing. And again, it is a cool concept with the film Tusk, where someone's literally being turned into a walrus out of their own skin, and it's pretty horrible. But the way they've done the whole transformation in the film and everything is very cool and very, very creepy and unsettling to watch from time. And again, this film, the reason why I'm making this review is because obviously the second one is in the works apparently, so I thought, why not? And first off, let's start with the cast. So you have Wallace, the girlfriend, and Teddy, I think you have three main people, and then one, like, bad guy or bad person in the film. Oh yeah, I forgot Johnny Depp's in this, which I thought was a bit of a random cast choice, in my opinion. Does not look like him at all in this film. He looks completely different to what he was back then, to be honest. Like, he doesn't look recognizable in this, like, when you look at it. But it's very odd, like, unusual film, because you don't recognize Johnny Depp, because it doesn't look like him in this random role. Like, I think he's supposed to be some kind of like side character who knows the bad person or something. But again, you just can make your own judgment when you watch it for yourself in your spare time. But there is a few things. This film's not perfect. Obviously, there's just like, you know, sometimes the film can be like a bit off from times. Like sometimes you can't tell that being serious from time to time. But however, the story is kind of unsettling. The only side plots and stuff I didn't like was the girlfriend and the Teddy character subplot. I thought that was just like so random. Honestly, I think you had 15 minutes in this one in particular scene with them two and Johnny Depp for 15 minutes for a bit of filler, I think. And I thought that was the weak part of the film, in my opinion. Is like, you do get good enough screen time with Wallace and the bad person, but at the same time, you're getting chunked with the subplot that goes completely nowhere. And I can probably see where people might get put off with a film like that, where like a lot of chunk of the film is the good parts, and then the other quarter is just talking scenes. And obviously talking scenes is important for films, and of course, because, you know, for the story and all that. But the way this film handled some of the side story was not the best, honestly. It's probably just like a random one in my opinion. But the main story, which was Wallace trying to do a report or do this podcast thing where he's trying to interview this guy in the beginning, turns out he and then he sees a flyer of an old guy somewhere, which is bad person, goes to this place. Obviously, it's a very old film. I think it's almost 9-10 years old by now. Obviously, I think if anyone knows by now, he obviously gets poisoned by the old guy when he has a drink or something. And then he gets his leg amputated. And like the acting of him and this other guy, brilliant. Like it's like one of those films where like it's great acting at its best, but sometimes kind of funny, like in a realistic way. Like you like the genuine reaction of your leg getting amputated, like what Wallace goes through in this film. Like because the film's supposed to be funny, but there is certain parts where like it's funny because it's like my leg, like how you would actually react, but he does it in a way where it's kind of funny, but you kind of understand. He's had his legs chopped and all that, but that's obviously part what the horror and the suspense is of this film. And so obviously he goes through that because obviously he thought to believed he had his spider bit from him. Clearly not. Is getting turned into a walrus. And basically what I love with this film was how he ends up going into this whole walrus transformation. And it's very weird, but it's clever. Like it's like they foreshadow it a little bit in the beginning, a little bit, because walrus, like obviously his name is obviously referencing what he's going to be at one point in the film. And it does obviously because it's an old film, so everyone would probably know by now with the Tusk film in general. But other than that, the look itself, the creature of Wallace turned into a walrus, I think it's very well made. Like it's very clever. It's very like creepy, but it's very like cool. Like God knows how much effort they've done to make that entire like suit to make it look like a walrus, but it's just it's creepy because like he adds like actual walrus teeth to his face, even though it's just his human skin, and it's just this unnerving feel when you watch it. Like you're watching a guy getting turned into this creature, but he's unwilling because the thing is he can't talk. He has to make barking sounds, but at the same time it's horrible, but at the same time it's kind of funny in the film because that's literally like the rest of the film how he ends up being. Whilst the old guy is trying to treat him like the walrus he befriended with in a backstory, but then obviously eats him, but obviously doesn't eat Wallace in this, but obviously Wallace, the old guy, and we all know the end at this point, but there is just one in particular shot of the film where I feel like it might need to be addressed, is Johnny Depp with the shotgun, right? And then it just cuts to dark. But then it cuts to that house again in daytime a year later, and obviously he's still alive. So I wonder if the original ending was Wallace was supposed to get shot by the shotgun in the end, but it's kind of like, was that supposed to be the initial ending? Or was he supposed to be alive? You don't know, you never know. But the ending was all right. I think just like the way the film was setting up and everything, like the transformation and the boyfriend and Teddy, which I think the one thing you would understand is they end up being together, and then because the weird subplot is just like the girlfriend just ends up starting to have a realization that Wallace is a bad person, but like it's not even explained, or you don't even see signs of him being a bad person at all. So kind of makes a bit of a weird like subplot that doesn't make sense because it's not fully explained. It's not like fully like, it's not fully well written by the way it was directed, by the look of that side plot. The main one obviously was just good, and overall I think the film is really good. I think I would rate this like 8 out of 10. Obviously wouldn't highly recommend if you're not into like body horror. Like I know like with these reviews I more enjoy like gory films, like, and this is one thing you didn't know, the only films I will not review on this channel is the Final Destination films, because those ones, God forbid, I would never, I just wouldn't. And that's the honest truth. Like, anyone asks me to make a review from them, I'm just not gonna review those films, because it's not my cup of tea and not my thing. You're just gonna have your opinion down below in the comments with that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be looking forward to a few more videos coming up as well, where I will be starting to review games. So I will be reviewing for like, so bear with me with the name. I'm still trying to figure out what's actually called. Ghost of Tsushima. That game, I'll be reviewing No Man's Sky and a bunch more, and probably the most up-to-date games. One heavily critique video I'm gonna do is WWE 2K25, because I'll be doing probably like a lengthy like hour video of that, because I've got a lot of stuff to say about the game so far. Because obviously I've played so far the early access, the 7-day access, and I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts on the island. I have thoughts on my rise, and basically everything. Because it's a good game, but again, I'll leave it there for years for the next videos coming up. And I'll see you in the next video. Danger out.